Now on the Fox 9 Morning News. The Fox 9 Morning News starts now.
First, we're going to check in this morning with M.A. Orozco. M.A.
If you've always been curious about which foods to pair with which red wines, well, we're going to take all the mystery out of it for you. I'm M.A. Orozco, previewing the Food and Wine Experience's Grand Red Tasting. That story is coming up, and I know my girls love their red wine.
A tasting that involves some 60 top-shelf wines from around the world sounds pretty great right now. So how do you top that?
How do you? Well, you pair those wines with amazing food, and that's what's happening at the Grand Red Tasting at the Food and Wine Experience. M.A. Roscoe has a preview of Saturday's event at the W Hotel.
Wouldn't it be great if you could sample 60 different bottles of wine? Good wines, priced from $20 to $100 a bottle, all in one night. You can, I don't recommend it, unless you come to the Grand Red event. It's part of the Food and Wine Experience. It is Saturday here at the W, and I'm joined by Chef Tim McKee, who not only is presiding over the Grand Red, but also develops the menus for all the Paris Soleil restaurants. Thanks for joining us. We're going to start. Absolutely. We're going to start low and work up. So you've created some pairings here, and tell us about the first wine and food.
Well, each restaurant at Paris Soleil is going to be represented at the Grand Red. We'll each do one small dish paired to a particular red, and these are three of them. The first is duck liver and truffled mousse with black pepper gougere, and we've paired that with a Willamette Valley Pinot. And you know, this works really well. There's a lot of earthiness from the truffles, and that pairs really well with Pinots in general, and particularly this one. From Good Earth, we've got a green tea pulled pork steam bun, and a little trickier pairing because of the cucumber and the cilantro. You're never going to get a perfect pairing when you're pairing this kind of food to red, but the pork works really well with this Eller's Merlot. And there's a little berry note in the Merlot that goes really well with the berry hoisin that we serve with this pulled pork.
Now, doesn't any red wine go well with a delicious steak from Manny's?
Well, you'd think, but you really want something that can stand up to the meatiness, to the fat. You know, if you're drinking a lighter red wine, it'll come out a little flat. And kind of the typical wine you'd expect to pair with this would be a big fat Cabernet.
Fat Cab.
Here we're pairing it with an Italian wine. It's a mixture of Cab Merlot and Syrah, and this really works well, particularly with this 65-day dry aged. It's a little nuttier, beefier, if that makes sense, flavor. And you know, this steak is amazing.
Oh, you don't have to tell me that, Tim. You do not have to tell me that. This one I know firsthand. If you have questions for Tim, you can ask him at the Grand Red Tasting. Tickets are $90. They're still available. And again, you're going to get to sample lots of different wines. So, Prost!